Hi! If you're considering going to Greece but are not sure which island to choose, then perhaps we can help you out, because we just came back from an amazing 2-week road trip through the little island of Lefkada, located in the Ionian Sea in Greece.
Make sure you watch till the very end, where we will share additional tips on making your holiday in Lefkada even better.
So why Lefkada? To be honest, initially we had no idea which Greek island to choose. They look all very beautiful, especially the beaches. We did, however, set several criteria for our destination.
First of all, our son is crazy about beaches, so the ocean had to be the ideal place to swim in. So no huge waves or anything. Secondly, we wanted to visit various beaches and not to be stuck at a resort, So it would be great if we could easily get around the island without driving too far, right? Third, we really wanted to hire a motorbike instead of a car. When it was just the two of us, we loved renting motorbikes to tour around. So now that our son is big enough to comfortably sit on a motorbike, we really were looking for a destination to do a road trip on a motorbike.
So when family of ours mentioned Lefkada Island, we had a look and immediately knew that we were heading that way. It's a small island and you can easily drive from north to south within an hour, making it ideal if you don't want to drive hours in a day. Plus, the small roads on the island make it perfect to do it on a motorbike, as you can avoid the busy traffic on the main road.
Yeah, as you can see, it is also a perfect island to do a round trip, making it possible to see every corner of the island. You will never need to drive the same road twice. And last but not least, Lefkada is located along the beautiful light blue Ionian Sea and is known for its long list of gorgeous beaches.
For this road trip, we rented two 125cc motorbikes at Lefkada on Wheels. This rental company replied to our initial emails very quickly and was very helpful when we changed our booking upon arrival.
Yeah. So initially we booked 2 times 50cc motorbikes because we thought that we were not allowed to drive a larger engine with just our car driving license. But then they explained that in Greece, you can rent a 125cc motorbike if you have your driver's license for more than 4 years. Well, that comes in handy. So that's what we did. A stronger engine makes it easier to drive through dirt roads and you will have more power when going uphill.
So if you are thinking of renting a bike, check out Lefkada on Wheels. Their pricing is really reasonable, plus their service is excellent.
Yeah.
We once got stranded because something broke on one of our bikes and someone immediately drove to find us and fixed it on the spot.
So our 2-week itinerary for Lefkada was: basically we stayed at 5 different locations: Lefkada City, Karya, Vassiliki, Mikros Gialos beach and Nikiana.
From there we drove to various beaches, often visiting 2 in a day. The drive to the beaches was wonderful. It took us through the mountains and downhill along tiny narrow roads past olive plantations straight to the beaches. Most roads were narrow but well kept, while some moments we ended up having a tricky off-road experience.
Yeah. So we planned our first 3 days in Lefkada Town, with the intention to do nothing at all, but relax at the pool, since we arrived on a flight that left at 4:30 early in the morning. But I guess we were so excited, right, that we immediately started exploring. In Lefkada, we visited the nearby Ionis beach. And on day 3, we visited the Nidri Waterfalls, which is just 20 minutes or so, right, from Lefkada Town.
Yeah, we actually planned to visit the waterfalls toward the end of our holiday, but we were driving around anyway, and we highly recommend visiting the waterfalls. It can get crowded, but not many people take a dip in the water, so once in the water, you will not notice how busy it actually is. Afterwards, we checked a popular beach in this area called Episkopis Beach, but there were many other little patches of beaches along this main road, which are just as beautiful too.
Yeah.
At the end, we realized that 2 nights in Lefkada Town would have been enough. This would have given us enough time to enjoy the nearby beaches, wander along the harbor to see the sailboats and yachts, and stroll through the beautiful small streets in town in the evenings.
On day 4, we headed to our next stop, Karya. This little village is only a 30 minutes drive uphill into the mountains. And this little town is known for its fresh meat produce and wine.
Yeah, to be very honest, when planning the road trip, we wanted to stay somewhere along the west coast, such as Agios Nikitas. But because we were pretty late with arranging accommodation, the most suitable accommodations were full. And since we had motorbikes anyway, we decided to stay a bit further from the crowd, yet within a reasonable distance from the beaches.
Yeah. Karya is an ideal pit stop when doing a day tour through the mountains from Nidri all the way to the west coast. It isn't a place to stay for 3 nights like we did. In the end, we would have just booked, I think, 2 nights.
Yeah,
that would be there enough. Yeah. However, while there wasn't much to do for us there, and it was somewhat far from the beaches, the mountain landscape is something we wouldn't have wanted to miss, right?
No, exactly. The drive from Karya to the west coast beaches was amazing.
Yeah.
There was hardly any traffic and the roads brought us through little villages and mountain valleys, and we continuously had amazing views.
In the days we stayed in Karya, we visited 2 beaches a day. One in the morning followed by lunch before checking out another one in the afternoon. We were able to visit the lovely village Agios Nikita with its extremely busy beach. Followed by Milos Beach. You can either reach this beach by climbing over the mountain or by boat, which is around €4 per person. Milos Beach is wonderful and definitely worth a visit.
On day 5, we drove from Karya to Avali Beach. Again, a stunning beach at the end of a never-ending twisting narrow road. We drove a bit further towards Gaidores Beach, where we had the whole beach to ourselves. In the afternoon, we visited Kefta Beach, which is along the same road as Avali Beach. This beach is more organized with more parking possibilities and is much busier. But if you pass the main beach with its huge rocks and walk toward the south, you can find a long stretch beach, which was also wonderful for swimming.
Day 6, we spent the whole day at Gialos Beach. This beach is pretty much divided in 2 parts. The north part is pretty quiet, but once you pass the little beach restaurants towards the south, you can find many camper vans parked there. This part of the beach is really nice too.
On day 7, we left Karya and drove through the mountains to Vassiliki. We did a detour and were again treated with beautiful landscapes. If you have a chance, try to take this road too. The landscape is very diverse, and with the dry climate you will expect everything to be dry, but that is totally the opposite in Lefkada.
We arrived in Vassiliki and from there headed to a nearby beach called Agiofili Beach. This was the first beach that we had to pay to get in. €5 per scooter, but it included a free drink. Agiofili is a popular beach and it was pretty full when we arrived. Somehow we didn't mind the crowd much. It's high season, so that's what we expected anyway. But once we're in the water, we were pretty good.
And on day 8, we visited the most popular beaches of Lefkada, Ekremini Beach and Porto Katsiki. Ekremini was once announced as one of the most beautiful beaches in the world, and when we were approaching it, we could see why. It is gorgeous.
However, to reach the beach, you need to walk downhill for around 1 kilometer, followed by 400 steps. If you are fit, it is okay, and we were there in the morning, so we had some shade. But the way back was terrible. The stairs were not even the worst part. I mean, walking uphill with the many hairpin bends was horrible, you know.
Especially with our son. By the end of the holiday, he had listed Ekremini Beach as the worst beach just because of the hike. So think twice if you want to visit this beach. We really loved it though. The cliffs and the 50 Shades of Blue make it very special, but we do have mixed feelings because of that terrible hike.
Yeah. From there on, we were also able to visit the nearby beach, Porto Katsiki. Unlike Ekremini Beach, Porto Katsiki was extremely busy. Cars even had to park along the road far from the beach itself. It is probably busy because it isn't that difficult to reach by car. What do you think?
Yeah.
We didn't stay long because we couldn't find a nice spot on the beach. But of course, we couldn't resist enjoying the water.
For both Porto Katsiki and Ekremini Beach, we had to pay €2 per bike for parking. It might be €5 or €10 for a car. If you don't want the hassle of driving, finding a parking place, or hiking up and down a hill to a beach, then you can always consider a boat tour that will take you from Vassiliki to these two beaches. Make sure you choose a smaller boat to avoid being stuck on one with a huge crowd dancing on extremely loud music. Unless you like that, of course.
The next day we visited Afteli beach. We thought this beach wouldn't be that crowded since it was pretty long and narrow road to get to the beach, right? But once we arrived at 10 in the morning, the beach was already full, huh?
Yes.
You know, it is understandable since the beach is really tiny.
There is also another beach, a bay closer to Vassiliki, called Amusa Beach. We were not able to visit it, but we heard that it is a nice beach to visit as well. Vassiliki itself is a nice harbor village. We really enjoyed eating at the harbor area with the view of the mountains and the ocean.
On day 10, we drove to our next accommodation along Mikros Gialos beach. Our accommodation was at the end of the beach, where it was also pretty quiet. Mikros Gialos is a lovely beach, ideal for swimming and for kids also.
On our first day there, we just spent the whole day relaxing at the beach. The next day, day 11, we drove to Kamari beach. It is a pretty hard to get beach because the road is not paved and full of rocks. But once there, you will find a quiet patch of beach.
Day 12, before we left Mikros Gialos, we did a kayak tour with the Perry Plows company. That left from the very same beach, just in front of our accommodation. It was a 4-hour tour that brought us along the limestone cliffs of Lefkada to a cave where the water had this beautiful blue glow. We were able to snorkel and enjoy 2 secluded beaches before heading back. We really had a great time, and being on the water is a wonderful way to see the island. Later on the day, we arrived at our next destination, called Nikiana, along the east coast.
Day 13. By this time, the weather was getting more extreme. During the day, it was around 40 degrees Celsius, and at night, it didn't cool down. And we had this idea that the huge main road running through town, plus a lack of wind, made it feel much warmer than at other places we stayed at.
So we decided to leave all the beaches in the surrounding of Nikiana and Nidri behind and go to Elomeno beach. This was one of our most special beaches because we were the only ones. That said, if we knew beforehand how this road to the beach would be, then we probably would not have gone. What do you think?
No, I don't think so. Because the last part of the road to Elomeno beach is the worst road we had during our whole holiday. There were big rocks everywhere, and at some parts of the road it had dusty sand and a lot of rocks, making it difficult to use the brakes without slipping and falling. But we made it and were treated with a picturesque beach and the best snorkeling we had so far.
Yeah, we saw many rental boats dropping by at this beach. And in the end, we would have loved doing that too. So when planning your holiday to Lefkada, make sure you add a boat rental so you can visit the many bays along the east coast. We ended the afternoon at Decimi beach. Again, a lovely beach. However, the waterfront is busy due to the many little boats that you can rent. We rented a paddle boat and we headed to a nearby cave and took a peek around the corner of the bay. Definitely something we recommend doing if you have kids.
On day 14, we drove back to Lefkada Town, and after leaving our bags behind, we went to our final beach just 15 minutes away called Pefulia Beach. And even after seeing so many beautiful beaches every day of our holiday, the colors of this beach still amazed us. This beach was a wonderful last beach of our holiday. If you decide to go to this beach as well, try to walk to the east side as much as possible where it gets less crowded.
So that was our holiday in Lefkada. As mentioned before, we had the best time and saw so many great things. We really enjoyed the Greek friendliness, everybody speaks fluently English, and we just loved seeing the many beautiful and diverse beaches.
Exactly.
There are, however, a couple of things we would have done differently.
First of all, we would spend only 2 nights in Lefkada Town upon arrival instead of 3. Find an accommodation nearby Agios Nikitas or closer to the west coast for the night.
Yeah.
Only spend 2 nights in Karya instead of 3. and probably skip staying along the east coast such as Nikiana and Nidri. We thought that these villages were the less charming places we visited. Instead, we would probably choose to stay longer nearby Mikros Gialos, perhaps rent a boat at Disimi Beach to check out the gorgeous bay along the east coast, and visit the Nidri waterfalls on the way back to Lefkada Town.
Yeah. Additionally, other tips we think are useful for a holiday in Lefkada.
Make sure you bring a sun or beach umbrella so you can fully relax on the beach. In the beginning, we didn't have one because we thought we couldn't attach it to our bike. But later we discovered that once our luggage was off, we could borrow one at the accommodation and place it on the back. This enabled us to enjoy the beaches even more.
Yes.
And if you don't want to tour around on a motorbike like we did, we do recommend a motorbike for a day trip if possible. They also have ATVs. It looks cool, but we saw that they had trouble parking at the beaches as well. It is less stressful by motorbike as you will have no problem with narrow roads and with the parking.
Last but not least, all beaches are beautiful. It doesn't really matter which one you choose. You can't go wrong. Some have rocks, others have soft sand. But make sure you wear water shoes to easily walk around the beach. But if you don't want to end up in a crowded beach, make sure to choose the long stretched one, such as Milos, Ekrimni, Gialos, Pefulia, Agio, Ionis Beach. On these beaches, you have the choice to walk a bit further in order to leave the crowd behind.
Oh yes, and check the wind conditions as well. If the wind speed is higher than 3 and is coming from the northwest, then the west coast beaches are less attractive for swimming. We were lucky that we only had strong winds on our first day in Lefkada.
As you can tell, we did a lot in just 2 weeks. Of course, since Lefkada is a tiny island, you can easily enjoy it for just a week. And you don't have to visit every beach, of course. We just love taking things slow, staying at places a bit longer and exploring those gorgeous beaches.
And with this video, we just hope that we have given you a good impression of this beautiful Greek island and that you can start planning your wonderful holiday there. If you enjoyed this video, please let us know by pressing the like button or by leaving a comment. And of course, consider subscribing if you want to see more of our videos. For now, thank you for watching and see you next time.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.